I've been using the iPhone 17 Pro Max for a little over 3 months now, and my thoughts have definitely settled. Yes, this is still one of the most impressive iPhones Apple has ever made. But also, yes, it still has a few things that make me miss Android almost every single day and make me wonder if it's really worth the extra cost over the base model iPhone 17. And as always, full disclosure, I am primarily an Android user, so I'm coming into this review with a slightly different perspective than someone who only uses iPhones. This phone brought a brand new aluminum frame, a larger battery with faster charging, a new 4x telephoto, and a legit selfie upgrade, and software that's more customizable than ever before. On paper, this phone should be flawless. So after living with it for months, is it still worth it? Let's kick it off with the design and the build quality. Apple went all in on aluminum this year for the Pro models, and after 3 months, my opinion has evolved. In the hand, the iPhone 17 Pro Max still feels fantastic, very balanced, comfortable, and honestly one of the best feeling iPhones, and phones for that matter, I've ever used. The matte finish on the side still looks premium on my device, and that ramp up into the camera plateau as they call it is unique and has definitely grown on me. But I will admit, depending on the angle, I still get nothing phone vibes, and I wouldn't say that is a good thing. But there is one thing that I think many people are misled on, and that's Apple's decision to move away from titanium and go back to using an aluminum frame. Aluminum is absolutely less durable than titanium, and you can definitely see that just by these images that I've been able to find online. I mean, just look at some of this damage. I highly recommend you pick up a case. Mine has held up mostly fine, but it's because I've been using a case. The biggest benefit of aluminum has to do with the thermals and heat management, which we will talk about in the performance section. And for the colors, yes, Cosmic Orange is still one of the coolest colors Apple has ever released. And the aluminum frame actually allows these colors to look richer and more saturated compared to titanium, which is why the older Pro models always looked a little bit on the duller side. I still worry about long-term durability if you go caseless, but overall I actually like this new design. It's different enough to be new and interesting, and similar enough to know that it's still an iPhone. And for that gorgeous display, you get a 6.9-inch LTPO Super Retina XDR OLED at 120Hz with 3000 nits of peak brightness. I use this every day in bright Florida sun, and visibility has never been a problem for me. Even after 3 months, the screen just looks absolutely stunning. Colors are vibrant, HDR looks fantastic, and everything is sharp and clean. I just love opening up Apple Arcade and gaming on this for long periods of time. Everything just looks great. But yeah, the dynamic island is still not my favorite. Apple does a great job of making it useful, and the animations are very clever, but let's be real, if Apple could put everything under the display without losing the Face ID quality, they absolutely would have done it already. Even with all the cool features, I just don't like having a gaping hole in my content when watching in full screen. And for the battery life, back when I tested the 16 Pro Max, I said that that was the best battery Apple had ever made. Well, that is not the case anymore. It's pretty incredible how well Apple optimizes battery life, because it's not like the battery has gotten significantly bigger. Now this did get a slight jump from last year to a 5088 mAh battery, and I'm getting anywhere between 10 and 12 hours of screen on time. It's not quite as good as something like my OnePlus 15 for example, but that phone also has a 7300 mAh battery. I tend to spend my time making phone calls, sending texts to family and friends, taking some photos here and there, listening to music for long periods of time, and playing Apple Arcade when I have some free time. If you're a light user, then yes, this can absolutely be a 2-day phone for you. Where things have improved but could be much better is the charging speed. Now you do get 25 watts Qi 2 wireless charging and 40 watts wired, which will get you 50% in about 20 minutes. This could be worse, but for the price, I would love for Apple to start implementing better battery tech that would allow for a larger battery and faster charging while maintaining a slim form factor. Regardless, this is the best battery life we have ever seen on an iPhone yet. Now with the performance, you get the A19 Pro chip, 12GB of RAM, and 256GB of base storage. Google, please take some notes. This thing is an absolute beast for daily use. I've been playing games, switching between multiple apps, and it hasn't stuttered not even once. iOS 26 feels incredibly fluid here. Just check out the benchmarks next to some of Android's latest chips. This thing is an absolute powerhouse. I'm also happy to report that thermals are really better than last year. Aluminum spreads heat much faster than titanium, and after months of gaming tests, I have never experienced hotspots and the thermals have been fantastic. I can play games for long periods of time and never experience throttling, performance drops, or stutters. And for one of the best aspects of this phone, let's talk about the camera. You get a 48 megapixel main camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, a 48 megapixel 4x telephoto, and a new and very useful 18 megapixel multi-aspect selfie. The iPhone 17 Pro Max continues to be one of the most consistent camera systems I've ever used. When I pull it out, I know exactly what photo I'm gonna get, no weird surprises, no aggressive processing, and no unrealistic colors like on some Android phones that I've tried in the past. The main sensor still delivers the best results. Color accuracy is phenomenal and dynamic range is excellent. There's a reason why people love iPhone cameras. I mean, just look at these shots that I'm able to get. And the ultra-wide saw an upgrade this year to a 48 megapixel sensor that also helps with clarity and overall detail captured. The 4x telephoto looks fantastic as well, which is something I was worried about because the 16 Pro Max had a 5x telephoto, so some people feared, myself included, that photos would look worse. Well, they don't, so don't be worried. In the 8x hybrid, it is better than I expected, but it's still not amazing. You can get some pretty impressive shots from it though, so for that, I'm happy. And for night mode, it continues to impress and gives you dramatically better shots than what you see with your own eyes. But the biggest unsung hero here is the selfie camera. The square sensor that automatically adjusts aspect ratio is something I didn't know I needed until I had it. I never expected to use this as much as I have, but I now miss it whenever I switch over to my Android devices. And the dual capture feature for video is actually useful in real life and not just a marketing gimmick, even though yes, we do seem to forget that Samsung did this a very long time ago, Apple, but I still appreciate it. And for the video quality, it's still the best in the industry when looking at all the aspects. It's still consistent, still unmatched in stabilization, and dynamic range is just fantastic. The only Android phone that even comes close to this video quality, in my opinion, is the S25 Ultra, but I still think that for video specifically, the 17 Pro Max is the best that money can buy in 2025. And for the software, as we all know by now, iOS 26 is overall beautiful and powerful. The liquid glass redesign still looks incredible to me, and it feels very modern and dynamic, and I love how customizable the home screen and control center have become. I waited so many years to do these kinds of things on an iPhone. In some ways, I think it offers even cleaner customization than what I get on Android. Some of the things I really like are the new chat backgrounds and messaging features, and I love call screening and hold assist, which are huge quality of life upgrades I've used on my Pixel devices for years, and I appreciate Apple adding these kinds of things. And Apple's visual intelligence finally gives me a reason to use that camera button on the side that I just don't use, and the overall experience is very polished and well thought out. And speaking of polished, Spatial Scene is such a small but amazing feature and one of my favorites that Apple has added in years. It just adds to the upgrade and customization Apple has been giving us with iOS 26, and it just looks fantastic. And while the camera app design isn't exactly my favorite, I do like the subtle, glassy animations when switching between resolution and frame rates when taking video. Now, some people think that iOS has been becoming a little bit more cluttered than it should be, and honestly, I can understand why people feel this way, but this is the way I look at it. If you don't want to customize your iPhone at all, well, now you're able to keep your iPhone as simple or as complicated as you want. I love it when companies give you ways to personalize your phone the way that you want it to be, and it's not a feature we've had on an iPhone for the majority of time that iPhone has existed. I think this is a great step forward for Apple and future features that enhance customization even more, and I am all here for it. And for something that is extremely important to me, let's talk about the haptic feedback. How does the iPhone 17 Pro Max compare to a phone with incredible haptics like the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL? And to finish off this 3-month review, let's do a quick sound test to hear how the speakers sound. Again, let's compare it to what I think are the best speakers of 2025, the Pixel 10 Pro XL. So after 3 months of use, is the iPhone 17 Pro Max worth it? Here is my honest take as an Android user who genuinely likes this device. If you're coming from an iPhone 14 Pro Max or older, then absolutely yes, just go buy it already. It's worth the upgrade in my opinion. Do you have an iPhone 15 Pro Max or 16 Pro Max? I would not upgrade just yet, I would wait for the 18. I still think the 15 Pro Max is the best bang for your buck iPhone that you can buy in 2025, and the 16 Pro Max is a great value as well. This doesn't offer enough to warrant the upgrade in that scenario in my personal opinion, but if you're an Android user who's curious about switching, while I still prefer Android and encourage you to check out the OnePlus 15 and my most recent review of it, or even hold off for the S26 Ultra in January that's just around the corner, this is the most Android-friendly iPhone ever. You get USB-C, better thermals, better battery life and charging, better UI customization, and an absolutely amazing camera setup for still shots and video. If this video helped you, please hit that like button down below and subscribe for more if you like what I do, and tap that new hype feature down below as well to push this video to more viewers like yourselves, and I will see all of you next time.